I'm taking this whole quantum physics thing quite seriously, and I can feel, and I'm connected to this quantum physics that you spoke about yesterday, the essence of this quantum physics. And I realized subconsciously I've been quite attached to quantum physics through spirituality that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So when I'm saying things, it's purely through quantum physics. It's not from my head. So when I say, as an example, yes, you're going to reach a broader spectrum of people. It's just what I feel. And that's the essence of how I understand quantum physics. I'm formulating what comes through intuition.
Yeah.
I'm putting it into words, basically.
Yes, it's and I just want to thank you for that. And when I met you, you were actually one of the few people who you knocked me off balance. Basically our first encounter.
Yeah.
And when I saw you on stage, I was like, oh my God, you were really like, there was resistance inside of me when I met you for the first time, like in person, but also and when I saw you speaking on stage, and I was like, this is just like too much, because you're so consequent with the way you keep your life, and the way you're aligned, and the way you speak, and the way you're in touch with love and the essence. You're so nourishing it, and you're so consequent with it, without it being an actual strain. That was, at the time, that was something that I found really difficult to handle. And then magically we met, and I started to realize, what your beauty and essence is, and for that I just want to say thank you, and also for being there last night at the talk.
Oh, thank you, because I really did connect with you, and I really did hold that space, because I want to also give that back to you. I see this, every human being has this, you can call it potential, you can call it light, you can call it this gift, God-given gift that we all have.
Yes.
And with some people, I see it really, really deep down, and it's really locked up in this cage, and they don't even know where the key is. They can't find this key. I will use my brother as example. He will never open up this box. I call it, we can use it, the Pandora's box, but it's this box of unlimited gifts and potential that we all have, and it's really unlimited. And a lot of people are just afraid and not ready to open up this box.
Yeah.
And I see this with you is, you're holding that key in your hand, and you've opened up the box, and you're lifting up this lid, like slowly, this lid. And what I felt yesterday is some people are not ready to embrace that amount of power, because they can't deal with it. That the gifts, that the amount of power that it gives us, and the amount of light and energy, And I just see that potential within you too, how you can, the impact that you can have in this world, once you've just let go of all the shit, let's call it, whatever it is, whatever we can call it, fears, we can call it bullshit, we can call it whatever. And we all have our masks, how we hide our fears, whatever, whether it's humor or whether whatever. I have this strategy, and then I think the buttons that I pressed with you is say, just stop the bullshit and just show who you are.
Yeah.
And once you're able to do that, you're going to create an environment of people are going to be so intrigued by you and connect with you. And the thing is, are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Are you really ready to stand on stage and to show who you really are? Not the facade, just the true essence of who Philip really is. Also being funny, also being truthful, and with using the concepts of quantum physics to connect to people. And you did connect to people yesterday, and I believe that was just the start.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to do this often. standing on stage, talking about quantum physics. And once you get like, it's like, you get into the whole groove and flow, you're gonna make people laugh,
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. So just for the orientation, so people get a bit of a of a frame around what time it is, where we are now. It's the 1st of January 2024, and the podcast with you is an idea that came up yesterday when we were at the Heal Play Love Festival in Zurich. That was a gathering of conscious souls, having workshops, having a party, and just basically coming together. And the event that you're referring to was my workshop around quantum physics and consciousness, which I have to say turned out completely different from what I thought it was going to be. Maybe we can touch upon that journey as well, because I feel just the way it was created can be an inspiration for some people. But I just want to also introduce you, so we can get a little bit of a relationship between you and the people. I know for me it's always like, why talk about myself? Why talk about who we are personality wise and stuff? But still, I feel it's kind of like an anchor and allows us to shape a little bit the energy that we have in front of us in the form of another person. If that's okay with you.
That's fine. That's
great.
Completely fine with me.
So you are Pierre Abrahams?
Pierre Abrahams. Yes, that's me.
You were. I'll just. It's going to be funny because I'm gonna summarize what I feel I know about you, and I'm
Please
sure.
do. I like that.
I'm sure I don't know everything, and you'll probably be amazed what I know and what I don't.
I probably will not be amazed. I like it when people actually when they get it, because I really have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
I'm a complete transparent person. I don't need to show the world who I am. I allow the world to see who I am.
Yeah, beautiful.
I love that. Yes, I have no secrets.
Beautiful. Yeah, I can feel that very deeply, and something that a lot of people make a secret about is their age, and I feel this has never been an issue with you. You're 40. You're 51, right?
Yes, I'm 51.
Okay, and you're of South African origin.
I come from Cape Town.
You come
I
from
never
Cape.
say I'm South African. I always say I'm Cape Townian, because there is a huge difference. Cape Town is completely unique compared to the rest of South Africa. I think it has to do with all. If you look at all harbor cities, whether it's New York or Hamburg or Marseille or Cape Town, it's always different to the rest of the country, and that has probably to do with the diversity of a harbor city. And that's why I love New York, but I'm not keen to see the rest of America. As an example, it's just unique, and the diversity of how I've grown up in Cape Town is completely different as to the rest of the country. That is why I call myself, I'm a Cape Townian. I'm not a South African. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's very interesting. So when somebody says Cape Townian, that feels like more resonant with you than South African.
Yes, it's like, they all like these two cities, the two polarities in South Africa. You're either from Cape Town or you're from Johannesburg, And this is like the essence of South Africa. Are you from? And it's funny, when there's holidays, the Joburgers always come to Cape Town. The Cape Townians never go to Johannesburg, as an example. Because it's an old industrial city, with gold and diamonds, and people moved up to for a better life. Let's put it that way. Discovering gold and diamonds 700 years ago.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting because that shapes the character of a place, right?
Yes, it
Because
does.
when you have people going somewhere because they expect a better life,
Exactly.
that's kind
Yes.
of that's probably kind of different, you know, in spirit than Harbor City, where people just kind of end up because there's a transportation route.
You don't just end up, you come and you go. And
Yeah,
some
yeah,
people might stay, but it's like I said, it is a it was the halfway station initially between Europe and Asia.
yeah.
You know, to getting this, it was called the spice route. You know, getting the spices and leaving Europe, stopping in Cape Town, and then going further with the boats, with the ships, the
Now,
trading ships.
now you got
So you
me.
would have, you know, I am a typical, I'll call it a multicultural being, to put it politely. So you would have the sailors coming from Europe, docking in Cape Town, fulfilling their needs with locals, and then moving on. You know, and so suddenly you would have this crazy multicultural, crazy group of culture, of a crazy culture that developed running on the streets, people with African hairs and green eyes, and people with this dark skin and blue eyes, and this blonde, beautiful blonde people with an African skull, for example. You know, so it was.
Wow, wow.
I believe you have like probably the most beautiful people, men and women, live in Cape Town. That's my opinion, of course. And the you know, it's just the diversity and beauty that you have in Cape Town is for me out of this world and unique. I think it's probably one of the most multicultural cities in the world, I would say.
Wow. Wow. And now we're finding ourselves in Switzerland. You came
Yes,
here 26 years ago.
at the age of 26, 1998, which is, yeah, it's 25 years ago. It's going to
Yeah.
be 26 years. No, it actually is. I'm sorry. It is 26 years ago.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
26 years. It's exactly
exactly.
it's
26 years ago. I've been here half my life.
you've been in Switzerland half of your life and what made you come to Switzerland? I mean, it sounds like you're in some loving relationship with the place you come from. What made you come to Switzerland?
Because you know, I feel really blessed to make decisions, the true decisions, through intuition. So I follow my heart without making much sense. I call sense, you know, or it's a funny word, you know, does it make sense? And then you relate to senses. I had my oldest friend. It's funny, I just wrote him today. His name is Stefan. My oldest Swiss friend, I would say. He's actually German, but he has a Swiss passport. We used to work together in Cape Town. And we used to run a restaurant, a very famous restaurant. And people would queue for up to an hour to wait for a table. 260 seat restaurant, full every day. We ran the place, and he had an opportunity to come to Switzerland in Cham. It's a little beautiful village in Canton Zug, to take over a Hotel Lorza, with the restaurant, of course. And then he asked me if I would come to help set up the whole project and to get it up running. And I said, and I immediately, without hesitation, said yes. And I had no idea why. Yes, I'll come. Um, and then the initial plan was to come for a year to help him set up the project, and then I would go back because I had a beautiful life. I had an amazing job. I was head chef of this crazy restaurant. I had a beautiful girlfriend then. We did not break up also when I came. Her name was Catherine Ann. So I had every reason to go back to Cape Town. But I promised him that I would help him set up his project. When people, of course, this is the essence of who I am, when friends and who I love, people who I love need help, I support them without hesitation.
Yeah, you
That was
have
the
this
reason why I came. Then,
absolute. I can totally sense from the time we've spent together. You're really somebody who is an amazing contributor to a team is like, I cannot think of anybody to be a better support and you know, also driving things forward inside of a team. Also, you know, when I ask you about, you know, you want to be a part of this podcast, it's basically the first sequence in this podcast when I'm really inviting somebody. An idea that came up like 2 days ago, and you were there as well at this beautiful friends dinner. And so I'm just, I feel so blessed, you know, because you, the spirit that you're describing, that you're actually just like without hesitation follow your friend Stefan to it wasn't Stefan, right? It was
Yes,
it was
yes,
Stefan.
Stefan Kurasinski.
Ah,
One of the
okay.
most gifted chefs I've ever met in my life.
Wow. You know, this is so you. This is so fundamentally you. And yesterday during the presentation, one guy said, "I want to be the yes man." You know, but maybe some people have seen the film with Jim Carrey where he says yes to all the impulses that come from life and that just make things totally different for him. He comes across beautiful people, beautiful circumstances. He comes across wealth. He comes across love, everything. And I had to actually, while I was holding the presentation, and he said he wanted to be the yes man, I had to think of you. You know, because you seem to be this feather like flowing, supporting, yet very strong and solid person that says yes.
I do believe I am a yes man. I call it the naivety of life. You know, just diving into I call it theater. You know, I'm diving into a play. I like the essence of life being theater. You know, we're standing on the stage, we're on the stage, and we dive into a play, and we don't have a script, and we see what happens. I like that essence, the spontaneity of the lightness of theater. And so for me, I try to find the lightness and spontaneity and the lovingness within life. So let's dive into this and let's see what happens. And let's embrace what happens.
And from this, going back to your story, you stayed in Switzerland.
Yes, I came with the intention of staying for a year. And then, of course, you know, my curiosity in any circumstance of life, I realized that I sat at a table with very intelligent people and I did not understand a word. And I felt very isolated because I would like to have been part of the conversation. I would like to have shared what I know, and I couldn't simply because I did not understand the language. And that was deeply frustrating and also deeply intimidating. Believing that I have an opinion to share and I cannot. I did not have a voice. Then I immediately started learning German, of course. I took private lessons. I worked during the morning, took German in the afternoon, and then I worked in the evening. And then, of course, I realized that I was actually not that bad at picking up this language. And then a close friend of mine with whom I worked with, his name is Willie. He says, "Hey, why don't you go study while you're here?" You know, and he knew that it was always my dream, funny enough, to do the hotel school. And we realized we were in the paradise of hotel schools, being in Switzerland. And then again, my spontaneity and intuition said, "Hey, that's a damn good idea." And then a year and a half after working, I went to school. I went to Chur, because I wanted to be in the German parts of Switzerland, not the French part of Switzerland. I could have gone to Lausanne, and I could have gone to Lucerne, but I wanted to go a bit further away and discover a new part of Switzerland. And I went to Canton Graubünden, and I went to Chur, and I went to the hotel school in Chur, and I did the hotel school after working as a chef for a year and a half.
Wow.
And while I was doing the hotel school, I met my former wife. in Kur. She was studying psychology. And while we were there in Kur, I was finishing my studies, and then I realized that again, an intuitive just feeling. I said, "Hey, Pierre, you should. It's not time to go back. There's still more to come." And then I went to the Hochschule oder die HTW Hochschule für Wirtschaft und Technik und Wirtschaft. And then I continued doing my bachelor's in finance and economics.
Wow.
At this amazing, it's one of the most amazing schools I've ever been at. This is so modern. We had these amazing lecturers. You know, they're coming from the industry, and they come in and they do, which is quite popular in these Fachhochschule, as you call it in German. I don't know what it's called in English. These technical, highly technical schools, probably universities.
Yeah, I'd like the word as well. It's probably some sort of vocational
technical university or something. I don't know.
Yeah, vocational university somehow.
But these are just amazing institutions in Switzerland. You know, I'm like this huge fan of these technical universities because it's modern. You have the best lecturers in the world, I would say, because they're still working in the industry and they give back their knowledge. So it's not just theory; they actually know what they're talking about.
It is actually what you're describing here is something that's very, very unique to the Swiss education system, and people from all over the world come here and copy it.
Exactly. And I believe it's one of the best educational systems in the world that I would highly recommend. If people want to specialize in a specific field, I would highly recommend this. You know, it's just amazing. And I managed to pass this. I was really lucky because I was 30 when I started. And I had a lot of younger people in my class, which were a lot more intelligent. They were just faster than myself. So I was in this amazing constellation and balance of I could share my life knowledge, my life experience with them, and they would teach me how to learn and how to learn fast, you know. So I was really blessed in this amazing constellation of young people who were really focused and driven, and we had so much fun together too. And I learned so much. We would start 8 o'clock in the morning, we'd end up at 10 at night, you know. And I just had so much fun. I was really, really, really lucky to be in that environment. I learned so much, you know, technical knowledge, and that was. After that, I got a job offer because I was one of the first people in Switzerland. Then it was new, you know, bachelors that was changed from Betriebsökonomie to bachelors. They were offering. You probably know, aware of that 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And we were like one of the first people that could do this. So a lot of companies were interested in these graduates, I would say.
Yeah. It's funny because I was one of the first ones as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Just with economics.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah.
I got a job offer then at the company called Gate Gourmet at the airport.
Oh, wow.
The second biggest catering company in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in charge of logistics within Europe. You know, like the logistic of all the food going with all the different companies. This company would deliver them with catering, with food, with all the plane companies. And I was in charge of Europe. You know, the logistics, which was a crazy job. You know, very difficult, highly complex. You know, we were working with the whole software SAP, which is a highly technical, one of the most amazing companies in the world, introducing it then through logistics. It was an amazing opportunity for me. I was very blessed after my studies to immediately get such an opportunity then. Yeah.
Wow. And then I remember then later you worked at Globus, which is a retail shop basically in Switzerland that has.
Yes, we started. I mean, after working at Gate Gourmet, my friend, when we started working, he started a company called Service Station, and he offered his expertise in helping people within gastronomy to set up their businesses and concepts. And we came up with the idea that we would like to be able to introduce, in a consulting form, help people and help companies to introduce their concepts. And this is what we started then. We provided our services to companies, into our expertise to introduce and to implement concepts. And in 2005, it's a long time ago, we initiated our first concepts. And the first concept we did was the new construction of Hilton, you know, the most famous vegetarian restaurant probably in the world, and the oldest vegetarian restaurant. So I was introducing to my first concept of the new flagship store then, which still exists today in Zurich. We introduced a brand new concept, and I was a part of this team, and I realized then how good I was at this. You know, I had this finesse of feeling what the right concept might be and how to implement this. You know, then it was brand new. I mean, vegetarian, organic, and I played a huge part in finding new products and introducing them, innovative products. And after, when the concept was done, I worked for Globus. You're right. I've helped set up the catering department of Globus then.
Wow.
Correct.
Wow.
Yes. And that was amazing, you know, because you're working with a company that they were just interested in having the best of the best from a quality point of view, because they had the clients who were prepared to pay for it.
Yeah.
Which is the most beautiful part of Globus, which I like, is people don't care what it costs as long as it's you have to deliver, and there are no excuses.
Yeah, and the food department that they have is ridiculously expensive, but that you can get stuff there that is just like out of this world.
Yes, I can confirm that the focus is really actually at pure quality.
Yeah.
And they deliver, basically.
That's so amazing.
I love that concept, you know, where, hey, this is what I provide, and there are no excuses. I like that concept.
Yeah.
We deliver. This is pure Swiss concept, and it works.
Wow.
Really works. It's an amazing company, and they are still. I think from a quality point of view, I would say that's just, yeah. If you walk into their shops, there is no better product. There is no better product to find. I can confirm that. Yes.
Wow. Wow.
And I was truly blessed to be able to be in that environment where we were setting up these concepts for them, and we were very successful, you know, providing a service, and we're having especially within Zurich, where the standards are very high, the expectations are high. You know, if you're delivering food to an executive, whether it's in the finance industry or the insurance industry, for example, which is quite huge in Zurich, you just have to deliver, and that's it. And we were very successful with that, implementing that concept.
It seems like, you know, from what I've seen from you, success is kind of on your side at all times.
I've been very blessed, I would say. I think I'm very blessed, and you can call it lucky. You know, they always say like the timing is everything in life. You know, whether it's in the business world, on a personal level, is recognizing that timing. You know, that moment. And I've been very blessed to meet the right people at the right time, acknowledge the right opportunity at the right moment. Yeah. Yes, I think I've had a very, very blessed life, also personally and from a career point of view. Yes.
And that's the, you know, that's basically the question around which my service evolves and revolves is what is the purpose? Do you can you kind of like isolate the unifying factor in what you've done, in what you've achieved, in what it felt like, in what it in the effect that it had on people? That would
I
kind
do
of like
believe, yeah, yes,
be the
I do
purpose.
believe that I've always had one purpose, a singular purpose, all my life. And this purpose I've never deviated from this purpose. This has been this one. I always use an example was I've always felt like I've been on this path and it's dark, it's cold, and it's raining. I have no idea, but I know that this path is the right path, and I've never deviated from this path. I've always had this deep, deep feeling within my heart that, Pierre, that is the path, and you have to follow that path. And I always feel there's like this gentle wind on my back pushing me into a direction, and I feel that I am guided. It's that I feel this warm energy behind me, keeping me safe on this path.
And
Or you can call it purpose. Let's put it this way.
I could call it purpose, you said.
You're calling it purpose. I call it this path. And this
Ah,
path
I see. I see.
this
So
path is the purpose.
yeah.
Living this purpose.
And when if I asked you to put it into like words, like, some people, I'll give you an example. Some people say, I want to bring beauty to this world, or like me, I want to help people connect to their potentiality and discover their purpose. And essentially, to use your words, to feel that backwind that carries them lightly through life. That would be what I would call my purpose. Now, what is it if you use words? Is there?
It's very simple. Is that true? The purity, love, reality. What I feel, I call it the truth. That one reality, not perception. I believe that I am connected to this reality and this essence of love. I believe that I have, on the one hand, that continues to be connected and touching this essence of love. And with the other hand, I have the purpose of following this path and connecting people, touching people, for them to feel that, hey, this does exist and it is real. And I do this all the time. I believe that my true purpose is to connect people and to make them feel this purity, that it does exist, that it is not an illusion.
Wow.
We had this conversation on telephone this morning where, I come into a room, I connect with the most beautiful people, inspiring people, like last night, perfect example. I connect to them and I just share what I feel. And I stay within this essence of love. You've experienced it with me quite a few times, when I share what I feel with no compromise. And there's a moment where I feel, Pierre, now I'm done. And then I go home. And I have no further intention. And this happens to me daily, on a daily basis, where I just share what I feel. I met this beautiful woman last night sitting next to you. And I felt her wisdom and her love and her pain. And I want to do is share with her. I feel your pain. I feel your wisdom. I feel your love. I feel your beauty. That's all I wanted to share with her. And then I could go home.
Yeah, you were You were like, it felt like a child that is being so excited to see something for the first time. It's like, you know, imagine a kid like
Yeah.
getting an ice cream for the first time in their lives.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
and what I find so inspiring about you is that you have these moments and these states of being. You have them all the time, and you
Yes, I
display them
do.
very
Yeah.
openly.
Yes. Yeah.
And you know, when I especially when I realized how you treat women.
Yeah.
That is just such a beautiful example of this absolute like non-neediness. It really truly and fundamentally feels like you don't need anything, and that seems to be a tenure that reverberates throughout your entire life, like
Yes.
the not
Yeah.
needing and the receiving a gift. Because especially it becomes for us men, it becomes so obvious how we respond to life and how we deal with life when we are in contact with women. What does that what the how you know how do we show up? What do we do? And I, for the most part of my life, when I met a woman, I made her an object of my ill-guided desire. But then it became clear to me also through observing you that beauty is like a flower, and if you want to preserve beauty and enjoy it, you can admire the flower, you can maybe support its growth, you can water it, but don't pluck it, don't remove it from the place, just honor it where it is. And this seems to be a general perspective of life that that you seem to transport.
I do believe that beauty, of course, I've been blessed to be able to feel beauty, sense beauty, and to appreciate beauty. And of course, I'm a man, and being a man, yet I see beauty not just in women, not just in nature, in the universe. I see beauty in men too. And what a lot of men don't realize is I actually treat them exactly the same, and I pay them this. I make no difference between women and men. Seeing their beauty, like I believe that I make you know that that I see even more your beauty as an example, or your brother's beauty, Luca. And these are just two examples of the men that I know. So I make no difference between when I stand in front of a woman, I do exactly the same thing. I share what I feel, the beauty inside of them, you know, how the resonance with it with myself. And of course, being a man, opening up to a stranger, which is a woman, we have these old mechanisms that play within our heads. This his intentions are probably in the end is might be sexual. I don't have that. I really, as a man who loves women, I'm only attracted sexually to women, but yet I don't differentiate between men and women. When I meet a woman and I feel that beauty, that flower that you talk, and I can start smelling the scent of that flower, the beauty within that flower. I share that very openly. The great blessing of that moment is that there are no sexual intentions within that moment.
And when you when I watch that, or when I find myself in that type of state, it's just it's a type of energy that is very providing, very you know, setting the stage. It's like the proverbial sun lighting up the moon. But
Yes.
the sun, you know, it has no conditions to lighting up the moon. It doesn't.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, the sun just shines.
Yes, exactly. All I want to tell that person is, which is very, very, very powerful, and people can be quite overwhelmed with that, is I see you, and that's it.
And that is,
I feel you, I see you, and I hear you, and that's it. And then I really do walk away, which you have experienced last night too, is I walk away and then I go home.
yeah.
But and with the essential aspect is within this moment is to share what I feel, because it is my responsibility on this beautiful Mother Earth to share what I feel. And this is what I do. Within that moment, I share, hey, you, what a beautiful soul you might be. And I feel the reason why you are that beautiful. And this is the all-encompassing, you know, through the pain, we become better people. We grow wisdom through life. And it was the most beautiful example sitting next to you, and this beautiful woman is how the more I shared, the softer she became. Actually quite an interesting thing to see.
Yeah.
She became, that these defense mechanisms that she actually started releasing those walls, like, and her guard. It's quite interesting. And then I went home.
And then you wait.
I said, thank you.
You made her drop her guard, and then you left.
Yes.
And
then I left. Exactly.
This is where, you know, I love this conversation because it's your not wanting. You know, you don't need anything from her. There's no purpose. There's no second thought behind allowing her to drop the guard, because allowing life, allowing a project, allowing a woman to drop its guard is to celebrate its beauty.
Wow, perfectly said. I'm celebrating her beauty.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it. And then you're done
Yes.
with it. There's nothing else.
There's nothing else.
Yeah.
The second example last night too, I know that the Laura did not want me to go home. She wanted to spend the evening with me. I knew that. I felt her energy really strongly. And I knew that if I were to do that, I would be transcending confusing signals. And I wanted to be truthful to myself.
Yeah.
And I knew that, Pierre, this is the moment where your part of this play or this theater is done. It's time for you to go home. That's exactly, I was truthful to myself.
Yeah.
To maintain that beauty and not to destroy it.
Absolutely. I mean,
that moment, to that all-encompassing moment, don't destroy it, don't mess it up. Leave it right there. Just leave it there.
Yeah.
And this is what I like about theater and film. There doesn't always have to be a happy end or an end. Just leave it there, and life continues, and see what happens.
It is like it's a very fragile piece of art that gets created through that energy of being together, of truly spending time with each other without trying to extract something from the other person.
Ooh, it's fun. That's exactly what I wanted to say. There's this beautiful flower, and that flower is not completely open. It's laying out this beautiful rose, and the rose is still budding. It's this budding rose. And I come close to this flower, and I smell. I have this beautiful scent. The senses are awakened by this amazing smell of this beautiful flower. But the flower has not reached its true potential. It hasn't opened up and bloomed yet. And I just leave it there. I allow that flower, give that flower that space to still evolve and to grow. And then I let the flower be, and I walk away. That's all I do.
It's amazing. It's like, you know, I feel what you're doing has been is kind of archetypal. For instance, if you think about this famous fairy tale, Dornröschen, what was it, like the Sleeping Beauty?
Yes, yeah. Mhm.
You know, she is dead basically, and the prince kisses her awake.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, afterwards he rides off with her on the white stallion, right?
Yes.
But you're like, you're a bit different. You kiss her awake and then you leave.
Yes. Yeah. Then I leave, allowing them to, within that awakened state, to connect, not just with me,
Yeah, and you
but
know,
to
this
all
is,
those around them. Yeah.
and
Just 1 second.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm busy cooking, so.
good.
Good. Okay, now I'm with you.
That's on your mind. That's your stove over there, right?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Just make sure the stove is off during the podcast. That's the first piece of advice I give to people. When you're on the podcast with me, make sure the stove is off. Because you know, fairy tales hold so much wisdom, and what
Oh, yes, it
happens
does.
when
Yeah.
when we look at this fairy tale. Oh, I get it. I'm getting a phone call. What is it? Just yeah. Let me just switch off my phone. So you know what Sleeping Beauty does is she eats an apple, which is given to her from a witch. Now, if you look at this from
Yes.
if you look at this from the archetypal point of view, and if you compare this to what you have done in your life, it's like the apple has always been the symbol for the sin, you know, because it comes from the
Yes.
tree
Yeah.
of erkenntnis, recognition maybe, you know,
Recognition. Yeah.
or discretion maybe. So it comes from that tree, and when you eat from it, you die, because it's the symbol of submitting to your ego, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like you, and then you disappear because your ego builds that wall around you. And the apple is also in the biblical sense is the symbol for the thinking apparatus that creates the ego that separates you from your true wealth and your true essence. And
Yeah.
so you could see this fairy tale as the feminine submitting to that ego and sort of becoming dead, like falling dead. And then it takes the white knight in shining armor, like this prototype of masculine force, to penetrate through the idea that she is dead and needs to be buried and left alone. It's this unwavering belief that she's actually still alive, you know.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of what you described just before. When you enter a room or you have a conversation with a woman and you just admire her without wanting anything from her, she has the opportunity to awaken from this dead ego separated state.
Yes.
And it's no coincidence that we're talking about this in the shape of masculine feminine, because I feel from what you've just shown us from your life, it's a bit like you're the white knight in shining armor, and through what you do, through your presence and through what you said, it's like, I'm here, I see you, I heal you, I hear you, I feel you. You kind of kiss people awake that have been put to sleep by their own egos.
I would even take it a step further. I really, deep from every essence that exists that I'm aware of, I worship women. You can call it women, you call it the divine femininity. That's quite, these cool, trendy ways you can call it this. But I would like to keep it simple. I like the essence of KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. I worship the essence of not a woman, the woman. Yeah, I
And,
worship, and
and would
I've
you
always worshipped. I even have it tattooed on my back, the spirituality of the woman.
and when you look at your life and how you've been blessed, does the way you worship women, does that also reflect in a different type of worshiping in your life that makes it go the way it has been?
Yes, it has. I think I drew a lot of strength from the wisdom of and the humbleness and gratitude of women, and I see how all the I was in a classroom. It's funny, when I was a teenager in my secondary school, we were a class of 33 women and 11 boys. Just and
A
with
dream
some
scenario, depending
oh
on
absolutely a complete dream scenario. I mean, I could never imagine how little boys can go to a boys' school. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, it's so weird, isn't
oh
it?
oh my gosh, dream scenario, and the wealth of wisdom, being in such a class for 7 years, the same class for
Mm,
7 years. Can you imagine going through the most pivotal part of life with hormones and growth and change, from being a little boy to becoming a man, being around 33 women every single day and
wow.
sharing life experience, understanding the cycle of a woman, understanding how that affects their whole the pain that they would go through. When I sitting next to a friend of mine, and she's in pain just through the changes of her body, her physical body, and how to deal with that pain, understanding empathy, sympathy, asking questions. What's happening, what's going through you, and everything. Whew, I feel so blessed. That growth, understanding how precious a woman is, and connecting, complete transparency, complete, being able to share everything,
Wow.
our fears, our spirituality, our desires as a man, the hormone, pure sexuality, and never ever disrespecting a woman. That is what I learned.
Wow.
I learned to worship, to truly worship women at a very young age. I feel very blessed.
That
The
is
essence and the wisdom and the spirituality of women. Oh,
that's that's a big one indeed. And let me just go. Let's go just to another topic, because I one thing I want to ask you is have there been setbacks in your life, like dark moments? And if you want, you can share an example and share with us how you dealt with it.
yeah, absolutely. The death of my mother when I was 7 was a huge setback, dark setback. It's quite funny, I have this comic setbacks, these 7-year cycles. We all talk about men and their 7-year cycles.
Mm-hmm.
My mother died when I was 7, quite interestingly enough. And I needed 7 years to heal from that darkness. I was angry, of course. My brother was 5, and my father worked 100%. He cooked and cleaned for 7 years. That was a very dark period, healing that kind of pain. Became very hard. And then, luckily enough, like I mentioned, coming into this classroom, that is when the healing process started. Being in that class with the 33 women and 11 boys, carrying each other's pain, growing together. That was a very dark period. hurting the woman that I loved coming to Switzerland, of course, that decision cut, saying that I want to stay here, that deeply hurt me. The divorce of my wife was like dying. The woman that I deeply loved, and realized that we needed to part ways for continual growth. We could not continue growing together. We needed to separate. And also, once again, needed 7 years to heal. We were 7 years married. Interestingly, we needed. That was a very dark period of my life. That kind of pain, I would not. I would not wish this upon any human being. It's like dying, a part of you dying, and you're still living.
Wow.
That kind of pain runs deep, very deep. That was a very dark period of my life. I think, especially separating someone with whom I deeply love, even today, we share deep love and connection. Coming back to quantum physics, I can confirm this connection that we have does exist. And there was a dark period where I was studying. I paid for my studies in Switzerland, and I did not have the last 20,000 Swiss francs. I didn't have a job. I couldn't pay my studies, and I didn't have a place to stay. It was a feeling of not having a shelter over my head, not being able to afford my last year. That was hard, very hard. Yeah. But that was a short, dark moment where I gained support from my then girlfriend, my former wife. She gave me a place to stay. I recently got a job and everything. I moved into a dorm, hospital dorm, where you pay quite. I had a little room. So, but it was a very hard, short period of my time where not having enough food to eat, not having a place to stay, not having enough money to pay for my studies. But I was able to, through trust and love, find solutions.
Wow. Wow. And that's basically what I was going to ask you next. What made you come out of it? I mean, nobody's going to stay in that. That's clear. Well, it's not that clear, actually. I live in the center of Zurich, and there are many people who seem to not have a home and who seem to be drug addicts and stuff. Is a reminder for me that things can go wrong.
Yes.
Things can go wrong. It can be horribly wrong. Now, what is, if you want to share the one thing that made you go on, that made it clear to you that there was a way out of this?
Yes, I think this is quite an interesting question, because there are two important aspects to this. I think the one thing is I never became a victim. And I don't know if you can learn this, or if it's deeply ingrained within your soul. I was within, no matter how much pain I have or how much anger I might have had, I never felt that I was the victim, which meant I never blamed the world. I never blamed someone else for my pain and for my anger and my frustration, whatever.
Yeah.
I took responsibility for my pain and my anger. And the second aspect is the will and desire to continuing on this path, which means living life.
Yeah.
I've always loved living life, no matter how much fear I had, no matter how sad I was or how angry I was. I've always believed that I have a purpose that you talk about, and I know, and I believe that I have to live. It is my responsibility to live this purpose. And I was in 4 really bad car accidents, where I could have died. Where the one, of course, my mother died, and the others' friends were very seriously injured. And then I knew the gods were always showing me a sign, but I never died. And then I knew is you're going to live, you're not going to die young. I don't believe I'm going to die young. So if I am going to spend this time on earth, what am I going to do with that time? Which I've always asked myself this question. That amount of time that you're going to live on this earth, what are you going to do with it? And I really do want to live this purpose.
Wow. I love the question. What am I going to do with my time on earth? I feel it's the most important question that we can ask, because we've somehow ended up on this amazing little blue ball that speeds through space at 27,000 kilometers per hour.
Yes.
And you know, one of the things I learned in the course of dealing with quantum physics is that a human being must see a sense in their existence. That will be the single most life-giving and health-inducing aspect that there can be. There must be a meaning.
Yes.
There must be a meaning. And for some, especially the ones that seem to attract positive miracles, if you will, it seems to be that this meaning cannot be put in words very easily, but is much more of a feeling, and it's about identifying that feeling and having the courage to follow it through, as you did so beautifully when you came to Switzerland and decided to stay, even though you had, as it seems, quite a number of reasons to go back. And that's you know, from my own biography, the very special thing that I love to learn and that I love to nourish in my own life, and that I also love to share with other people. Because I personally have made my decisions, especially the larger decisions, from my head. I have made very reasonable decisions in my life. And people around me were always convinced that the decisions I made were good for me. I look back now, and obviously I'm very grateful for what has occurred in my life. Now, since October, has been a time when I've turned the process upside down. And I'm learning to do things from my heart. So to feel it before I actually do it, which is a completely new thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that you have, maybe through the hardships in your early years, have had access to this question and the guidance that comes with it when you ask that question.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I feel that when I was, it's funny, you know, we were at Luca's birthday, Antonella, and when she was a child, she was speaking a language no one understood her. She felt all alone, and I felt exactly the same thing. I was saying things, talking about things, and no one understood me as a child. I think there's this language, there's a certain art of how we communicate. And there are different forms of communication, I see. And I believe I've always had one form of communication. And it's funny, I felt that was the moment with Antonella, and I feel that we've been communicating on the same frequency, if you use the essence of frequency. And each form of communication has a different frequency. And I believe that as a child, I was connected to a frequency that that other people could not understand. And the more I remain true to my frequency, I see the easier it seems to be to connecting to these people. It always seems to be getting easier. People seem to be connecting to it, or I seem to be finding these people easier that share a same frequency. And this frequency is an essence of our belief, how we connect, how we all really want to connect. We all want to love, we all want to be loved, and we all want to share love. And I believe that this is coming back to the true purpose, that the reason why I'm not going to die soon is accepting that purpose and responsibility of once again connecting people within that essence and creating that ripple effect of that purpose, and which is not within reason, like you said, but truly based on what I feel is right for me and sharing that with others. And I felt yesterday when you were doing the content presentation, being within that essence and people connected to that. And I believe the more often you do what you love, more people will connect with. This is this ripple effect, which I feel that I've been doing all my life is, okay, look, I connect. And we connect, we continue connecting more people, adding more people to this puzzle. And it continues to be growing. And I see that this concept that I might have believed in as a child when no one understood me, 51 years later, more people are continuing to understand what I'm saying. And the funny part is, like, even with you last night, is, we're sitting there and I can completely connect to this woman, and that's it. It's just connecting each other with no intention. It's just connecting, continuing growing this foundation of what we all believe in at the end of the day.
And the thing is, I remember listening to podcasts or similar formats when people were saying something like you just did, this unintentional, non-enforcing type of connection.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Then I found myself saying, oh, that's how it works. That's how I'm going to get the sex or the love that I've always craved.
Yeah.
I just don't have an intention. Now this is stupid because it wrecks the whole thing right in the start. But and then it took me another, I don't know how long, but it took me another moment to understand that I was just like kidding myself basically. And out of this arose the question, wait a second, I'm even the idea of like non-neediness, of unconditionality is something that I seem to use to manipulate. And I've seen many teachers, especially in the spiritual field, who do the same thing. They ask for unconditionality, where in fact they are trying to use you to cover their own needs. I was quite a bit the same. And when you so it becomes something that you realize is a resistance inside of you, and you realize, oh my God, I'm stuck with this idea that I sort of need to manipulate and do something in order to have other people behave in a way that I want them to, like give me money, give me love, give me attention, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the journey begins, or it is an important part of the journey, at least it was for me, to realize that and to make the choice to let that go. To let go of wanting specific things from other people and from wanting to life to appear in a certain way. Because everything we think about people is something that we also think about life in general. And that was a very important part of my journey, when I realized that this perversion, like this deformation of beautiful concepts, is happening inside of me because there's pain that wants to be covered up, that wants to be healed. But nobody can do that for me. It's my job to do it. And so I started to go through that feeling. And I remember a time when I felt lonely, especially on Sundays. It was bad. I remember a time when I rang up booty calls. You
Yeah.
know, I rang up women to have sex with them on Sundays because I felt so lonely. Now, at some point, that completely shifted, and I was very, very happy to be on my own. I also am now, and I also want to share. I don't know if I told you yesterday, but yesterday was New Year's Eve, and it was my first. I'm 41 now. It was my first New Year's Eve when I fundamentally didn't care whether I was on my own or with people. In previous
Yes.
years, New
Yes.
Year's Eve has always been an occasion for me to worry and to get excited and also afraid. Like, what am I going to do? Who am I going to be with?
Okay. Wow.
And now I'm like, you know, staying at home in my trainer. That would be awesome. I could watch a movie. I could make music. I could maybe produce a podcast. Uh,
Yes.
and it's so liberating. It's so liberating. It
Yes.
is.
True.
It is like it creates so much space. And as we are on this path, these things fall away. You know, the stuff that we have felt important that we needed to get from the outside in order to
Mhm.
feel
Yeah.
good, it
Mhm.
falls away. And then what remains is that purity that you so beautifully described earlier, where there's no need to go beyond. There's no need to, like, you may spend an evening with a beautiful woman, and then there's maybe an old, it happens to me, there's this old part of me that goes like, now now it would be time to kiss her, or
Yes.
now
Yeah.
it would be time to like make her come to my place so we have sex.
Yeah.
And it feels so terribly wrong.
Mhm.
So basically something that I started at the age of 16 through like my mid late 30s has become so wrong. And it's just so beautiful to see, because I realize that it's a privilege to be in this space.
Mhm.
It's a blessing to have transcended this urge,
Mhm.
this like this pushing desire, and to just basically also in other parts of life just be and nourish the soul.
Mhm.
So one thing, for instance, I came up with for this year is I want to go to church.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to join, right? You're in Einsiedel.
I'll gladly join you. I'll gladly join you. Let's go to church.
I want to go to church.
Let's go to
Just
church. Yes,
yeah,
I'll
because
join you.
because I appreciate places and people that allow me to replenish my soul
Yeah.
tank.
Mhm.
Like the soul, the vessel inside of me
Yeah.
that is where I'm truly nourished.
Mhm.
Because I feel that the true nourishment has nothing to do with food and drink, but true nourishment is love.
Yeah.
Is for the soul.
Mhm.
That's why in the Bible, I don't know exactly what the wording is, but like in Jesus says something in the sense of you could like eat every day and stuff your bellies and still starve to death.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, especially last night when some people really lost control of themselves. I live in the center of Zurich. It's a disaster. It's a mess out there, right?
Mhm.
And I feel people, we're humans. We're looking for this nourishment, and so we believe that drinking alcohol or doing something else that is excessive could lead to having that inner access and
Yeah.
a feeling of nourishment, but it's not the case.
Mhm.
It is a true inward movement that is required, that leaves the outside world in this pristine and true way that it actually has been designed. And this can be a woman, but this can also be a patch of grass or a
Mhm.
garden or a street even, you know.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
don't need to abuse it, misuse it.
Mhm. Yes, the question is, of course, the one thing is what nourishes you. I'm really asking you, what really and truly nourishes your spirituality, your light, your being, the being of Philip. That's the one thing. And then the second thing, what I would like to ask you is to be able to, without compromising your character, who you are, being in an environment like last night, and completely remaining within the state of purity. And the state of purity means that I'm being who I am without intention. And the greatest irony of this is when I'm able to remain within that essence of purity and pure intention, people, whether it's women or men, they are going to be completely drawn to that. People are drawn to purity and love. And this is the crazy part of it, is you will be able to have double the amount of women that you've had up to today. Actually,
Absolutely.
just remaining within that intention of, within that essence, without
Yeah.
intention of purity of who you are. The funny intellectual, I call it the funny intellectual Philip, I will call it, Um, and uh, and I believe there lies the essence.
The experience of love and affection and relationship that I am enjoying now in my life
Yes.
is beyond the wildest dreams that I had when I was 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm absolutely grateful for this.
Yeah.
It's so magic. And I want to say thank you for these questions. What do I do to nourish myself? Um, it is for me. It is the constant movement towards the divine, always striving, if you want to use that word, towards the light.
Yeah.
Having discretion to observe myself,
Mm-hmm.
what is going on inside of me. Is it a thought that is nourishing? Is it an action that is nourishing? Is it words that are nourishing? Am I on the path of my truth, of my own purity,
Mm-hmm.
or am I deviating from it? I feel so grateful for being able to observe this, because I'm basically experiencing what you just called my personality. I am experiencing it. I am not my thoughts. I'm not my feelings. I'm not my, I'm none of that. What I am is the observer, and understanding that I am the observer, and understanding that there is a place of love where I can permanently reside if I choose to, or come back to it once I got knocked
Yeah.
off, because we're humans, we get knocked off all the time. I have health
Absolutely.
issues that are unpleasant,
Yeah.
but it's like there's rain and there's sun, there's there's all sorts of things, and the question is, can I allow myself to stay in the flow of love inside of me, even when it's a dark place? Can I trust that this is what I need right now, even though my human identity feels that it is not what I want, right?
Yes.
So it's what nourishes me is my own consciousness, my own capacity to lovingly watch what is happening, and
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah.
and in the process of that, I get to know people, I get to know tools, I get to know all sorts of things that turn out to be magic helps. It's like in a computer game where you're a character and you pick up these magic wands or
Yes.
or items that make you
Yeah.
stronger. And that's actually the reason why these games and these scenarios have so much appeal to us, is because they are reality. It's just what reality really is,
Yeah.
right? And so that's what I feel most blessed. And I can give you an example. Just yesterday in the morning, I sat down and I did an exercise that I had done before. And the exercise was to, like, picture yourself as a child bringing before God like the things that don't work, the things that hurt.
Yeah.
And 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 for the first time in my life, I actually managed to take that position of the child who, and I realized I can just, it's like somebody listening, somebody's actually listening. And it felt very emotional, because it was like, for me, with no intention, almost like, I just want to share with you that I have this pain in my body, and that
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried that it may keep me from doing what I want to do, or stuff like that, right? And that was like, I wrote it. I wrote it down. I wrote a full page of it, and I cried, because it was like coming home. Now, is that, you said what nourishes me? That was your question, and I guess a lot of people would probably say, oh, a beach in the Caribbean, or a dinner with a beautiful woman, or a dance. These are amazing things, but they are expressions. They are second row. The first row is, if you want to call it, my relationship with God, or my management of my inner self. Because one of the things that quantum physics has taught me is that there's no objective reality. Everything is a projection from the inside of me. And it's a very complicated process, and yet very simple. And so when you it's like when you run a cinema, you want to make sure that the machine that projects the image onto the canvas is in a perfect state, and that the films that you put in there
Yeah.
are amazing films that induce love and like good feelings. So that's this. And I have been on this path for about 7 years. Before, it had been quite an unconscious thing in my life, and I feel blessed beyond words to be where I am right now, with the wisdom, with the richness of experience that is inside of me. And it obviously, it includes being with amazing people like you. You are the shining example for me that I am on the right path. And
Yeah, what is quite clear, what I feel is very, very clear, is even the what you did yesterday. This quite emotional and conscious letter that you wrote. I would say to God, as it's quite as symbolic as a child to God. Is that consciousness is like this deep, open essence, unending essence of nothingness. I call it nothingness. That path of consciousness into nothingness is, like you've mentioned, we can, what the different layers are that fulfills us, that makes us happy. Whether it's like we talk about the levels of food, fun, alcohol, and there comes a point where these superficial essence of fun it just goes deeper, and okay, I've had enough of this. I want to go deeper. And when I approach everything as being spiritual, every encounter as being spiritual, that's probably that feeling that I have realized that, okay, does just sex fulfill me after that amount of time? Is it spiritual for me? And then I realized, oh, then it's a new discovery and a new discovery. And for me, you're this perfect example of where might you have been 20 years ago from a spiritual level, and where are you today from a conscious level? And how pure do I feel I am today compared to 20 years ago? So this is never-ending discovery of consciousness. And the deeper I approach, and my curiosity when it comes to spirituality, like going to church, for example, I will continue meeting those people at the right time to open up that door to deepen my essence of consciousness. So there is no coincidence the people that you have in your life today compared to the people that you had in your life 20 years ago, or the women that you're meeting today compared to the women that you might have met 20 years ago. That is that path of curiosity, of opening up your essence of the consciousness that you want to awake. So you will continue meeting those people that are going to help you opening up those doors of consciousness that you want to reach.
It's like we're 8 billion people together on this planet, and I feel that what we're meant to do. The reason why there's so many of us right now is because that increases the chances of having encounters that are healing.
Yes.
It's like the universe and the planet and all the circumstances are cranking up the volume.
Do you realize? Yeah.
For you to realize that you know the kingdom of God is inside of you. Mm-hmm. You know, like the ultimate peace and the ultimate love is something that resides inside of you, very literally. I think if you just stopped everything, if you had a set of you know, like doctors come into the room and measure me, if they had the tool, they would probably realize that levels of oxytocin and estrogen and
dopamine
would be like elevated, because you know that's how I feel.
Let's take last night as an example. You know, you had this presentation, and I don't know if you realize, I do, how many people we literally moved, and we actually made a shift in people's lives. I mean, we had this guy Björn sitting there, and you had the presentation, and he connected with me because he realized me connecting to you talking to him, you introducing me to Björn, we meeting in the toilet, and then we left together. I brought this guy to tears. So it's this chain of reactions. It's like a movie. It's like once again a theater, where the different elements of coincidence, where you say, Pierre, I promise you, okay, I'm coming to listen to your presentation, and the amount of people that I said, look, I'm going, which I would love to have stayed at home. I said, no, but the amount of people that we inspired last night, it's insane, you know, through quantum physics. It's insane. Bringing this guy to tears, all based on quantum physics. I tell him, the emotion that you've experienced through your life, you will forever carry inside of you. This guy was crying next to me. Then we ended up being a group of people standing together, sitting together, all because of you. You know, this is the essence of coincidence.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And this was not just one group of people. It was like, changed throughout the whole evening until I left. And it remained being intense. This is crazy, you know, all through the essence of quantum physics, where there was no intention, purity, just sharing. And we actually literally changed people's lives last night, literally, quite consciously.
We're going to do it again.
This is going to happen all the time. Yes.
Do you realize what time it is? Do you realize what time it is now?
No, I have no idea what time.
It's almost 4 o'clock.
Whoa.
We have been talking for almost 2 hours straight.
Wow.
Wow, isn't it amazing?
Yes. Well, this is what I want to share, how amazing you are at the end of it, realizing that. And this is how we can, or we are going to change this world. Just be who we are. That's it. Just be
It's
who we
and
are.
it and yet it seems so difficult because you know the world has taught us to, or we have believed that we're not good enough and that we need to be different from who we truly are, and then who we truly are is defined by this insane amount of love that dwells inside of us.
Yeah, it's not just different. I call it detaching. You know, the world wants us to detach from who we are. I call it our source.
Yeah, because there's sort of, you know, the more I think about it, the clearer it becomes. There seems to be a kind of like, it's almost like an entity that thrives from us not using the energy in the way that we do right now.
Yes, they want us to detach from that energy.
Yeah, it's like the Matrix movie. It's like
Yeah.
the deeper I go, the more I realize how groundbreaking that movie actually was at the time. It was
Blue pill or the red?
1998 when you
Exactly.
came to Switzerland. That's what I saw it in the cinema, and I liked the special effects, but I had no clue what the message was. And I feel messages are everywhere, and for me it's an honor and a privilege to provide this type of message together with you in this amazing episode of the podcast that we did right now.
Yes, it's deeply enriching, I would say. Yes, I mean, this is exactly this. These are these moments like now that the old cliche, money cannot buy these moments. It
Thank
cannot.
you. Thank you.
Wisdom and sharing this, and that's why I'm really deeply. You should give me a book about quantum physics, because I can, at the moment, I just feel it.
Yeah.
This, it's like these shifts that happens. Like after this podcast, there's yet again another shift of confirmation. Hey, this path, once again, come back to this path
Yeah.
and being grateful. Wow, and
Thank
how
you.
enriching these moments are.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I just want to invite, you know, if you've been listening or watching until now, you understood the message, and you probably had the same feeling of timelessness as we did.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and so if you'd like to stay in that field that we're creating here, there's a number of opportunities. The first
Let's
one,
do it. Let's do
yeah.
it. Yeah.
The first one, you'll find everything on my Instagram account, philip.a1. If you
Yes.
and I'm talking now to the people who are listening to the podcast, and if you want to, you know, if you want to use my wisdom and my power to help you with your life, then write me at welcome@philipeschlimann.com, and make sure you follow me on the social media outlets. And as a special highlight, on the 9th of January and on the 23rd of January, I'm going to hold systemic constellations, which are insanely powerful gatherings of people who help each other release old energies and bring fundamental love and change to their lives. So, and that's going to be held in German. So yeah, if that feels good for you, we have space left. And if you want to be a part of that, just get in touch with me through the email that I just mentioned. I'll say it again, welcome@philipeschlimann.com. And there's a lot of goodies coming up this year, including retreats, including coaching programs, including more presentations around quantum physics. And Pierre, what is your invitation? What is your invitation? How can people thrive off your spirit? Because I know, you know, I'm thinking about cacao now.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I think what I would like to be able to do is connecting with people, and cacao being the heart opening medicine. We all know, most of us are addicted to chocolate, and it's not just the sugary addiction, it's actually the beautiful cacao, this heart opening medicine. And I would like to be able to share this with others. And I would like to be able to provide, I sell the product called Sacred Cacao. And this is also, you can also, the website www.sacredtaste.ch. You can buy it online, and you can also, if you are interested in cacao ceremonies, would like to be able to do this not just with you, but with Philippe, of course, and all of us. And we're going to create a plan too for 2024. We're going to provide venues and have ceremonies to connect, meditate with cacao. It's a beautiful medicine. It's a soft medicine, and yet a very powerful medicine. And we can have evenings together where we don't need to drink alcohol, we drink cacao. And we open up our hearts and we share what we feel, and we grow together, become better human beings together. Thank you, Philippe.
Wow. Wow. So much life here. Amazing, man. Thank you so much. It feels like, it feels like a Joe Rogan podcast, but in the spiritual world. That's what it feels like.
Oof.
I wish
fun.
that, sorry?
This has been fun.
Yeah. I wish that, there will be a lot more conversations with a lot more beautiful people, and I can't wait to invite you back to this amazing podcast. I also have the feeling that I need to crank it up a little, because now I'm releasing a podcast every week. But I know so many beautiful people that I want to have conversations with, and there's so much to share that I'm literally thinking about cranking it up to twice a week.
Wow.
So good.
This has been amazing. I have to admit too. I've had fun. It's been fun.
Yeah. And see what it does. See what it does. It's beautiful. I can't say I'm detached from the outcome, but I don't know what the outcome is, and I'm just following the joy.
Well, I can feel the spirit behind that, and the enthusiasm. I like that word, enthusiasm. And I think people are going to feel it. So it's
wow, that's so amazing. It's such a blessing, man. It's such a blessing. My God, this is a blessing.
This was a very heartfelt. I call it a heartfelt. My heart felt it. This 2 hours now. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. This was the first time that I've really done this, and it's been on my mind for a very, very long time. And if I'll say this, it's 2024. If I'm allowed to make my living with these podcasts in some or the other way, wow, it's like off the charts, bro.
Yes, this was amazing. I have to say, I'm deeply moved. Well,
yeah, well, and the cool thing is, we're investing in amazing startups that have crazy ideas, and
that's true. All of us, huh? We
are.
Yeah.
And that's so cool, and it's just such a fountain of joy. It's amazing. Wow. Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you, Philippe. And I'll see you soon. I know that.
Yes, I'm pretty sure I'm going to come up with something where we're going to meet again.
I hope so.
Yes.
I hope so.
I love you, bro.
I love you too.
And thank you New Year.
For entering this new year with you. Whoa, wow. Quite intense.
With
no coincidence last night and today. Continues.
Wow.
The journey continues.
The journey continues. I'm high. It feels like I've taken MDMA, and from my old life. It's like, wow, this is what it should feel like. Oh, good. Wow. So
yeah, we on this road, hey? We on this road.
Wow.
This road.
Wow. All I'm asking for is to touch as many lives as possible with this amazing spirit and love that we're nourishing and gathering here. That's literally all I'm asking for.
Yeah, we're really touching a lot of people. Let us be aware of this. That's gonna grow. It is growing.
Wow. It's like all ego. It feels like the darkness is gone. This is an amazing year already.
It's just last night we touched so many people. It's actually quite mind-blowing.
Wow.
gosh.
Oh, so good to have us on the planet, huh? Oh, that's the connection breaking down, it seems. Let me just see. Oh, it's gone. All right, guys. It looks like the universe terminates the connection, and I want to say thank you for being here. Happy New Year, and see you again in a week. Bye bye.